My girlfriend, Phoebe Norton, insisted on bringing her best friend along on our trip. What she did not know was that her friend Shanine Graham was a shameless flirt, wearing nothing but a tiny thong beneath her clothes. Shanine kept finding ways to tease and tempt me. She was very innocent. Even though she had already given me her first time, she remained extremely conservative in bed. Unfortunately for her, I was the kind of guy who liked a little more excitement. I had bought her plenty of sexy stockings and outfits before, but she refused to wear any of them. It left me feeling disappointed, feeling as if something thrilling was missing from my life. One day, Shanine suddenly suggested that we go on a trip to relax. However, the day before we were supposed to leave, she suddenly changed her mind and insisted on bringing her best friend, Phoebe Norton, along. I had only met Phoebe twice, but she left quite a strong impression. She was the complete opposite of Shanine, bold and outgoing. In the summer, she would wear those thin tank tops that showed off her full curves, the kind of sight that could easily get a man excited. Phoebe also loved wearing stockings, especially black ones. Every time I saw her, it was a different pair. Honestly, women in seductive stockings were exactly my type. Shanine could never satisfy that preference, but Phoebe happened to be exactly what I liked. Truth be told, I wanted to agree immediately, but I was worried Shanine might notice what I was thinking, so I pretended to hesitate. She is coming too. Won't that affect our trip? I asked. It won't, Phoebe. Definitely won't bother us, she said to assure me. Please, honey, just say yes. If you agree, I'll reward you tonight. Shanine, in all her innocence, kept pleading on Phoebe's behalf, completely unaware that it was exactly what I wanted. All right. Thinking about Phoebe's flirtatious charm, I could not help wondering if I might get the chance to have some fun with her. I pulled Shanine into my arms and began going at her passionately, unable to stop the fantasies forming in my mind. Phoebe's full chest and those seductive legs. The more I thought about it, the rougher I became. Before long, Shanine started crying out, but I kept pressing down on her in my excitement, making my petite girlfriend tremble beneath me. Early the next morning, Shanine and I arrived at the train station. She was still complaining that I had not been gentle with her the night before, saying I had left her sore enough that it hurt to walk. I just smiled without saying anything. Soon enough, Phoebe arrived. Shanine Richard. She was a little late, and the train was almost ready to depart. Phoebe wore a stretchy tank top that hugged her full curves, and a tiny leather skirt around her waist that was incredibly short. Her hair was dyed golden, and her face was beautiful. She dragged a suitcase behind her as she ran toward us, her body swaying with each step. The moment I saw her, my energy returned, from the way things were moving. I even suspected that this flirt might not be wearing anything underneath to stay cool. Her legs were fair and smooth, and just as I expected, wrapped in black stockings. By the time she reached us, sweat had already soaked the front of her shirt, the fabric clinging tightly to her body. The sight was incredibly satisfying. You are finally here. Come on, let's go. Shanine grabbed Phoebe's hand, and the three of us boarded the train together. When we bought the tickets, I had suggested getting cheaper ones so we could spend more money on the hotel and activities. The train we took was an old one. The entire journey was slow and shaky. The car was packed, especially since it was a holiday travel peak. None of us had reserved seats. Luckily, I reacted quickly enough and grabbed an empty one as soon as we boarded. There was no other option, so we would just have to take turns sitting down to rest. Baby, you sit first. I had Shanine sit down while Phoebe stood beside me. Shanine had not rested well the night before and kept nodding off as the train rocked back and forth. In the stuffy, sweltering carriage, Phoebe and I stood pressed close together. We were face to face. Right in front of my eyes were her full, voluptuous assets. Wow, it sure is hot. Phoebe lifted her hand and fanned the inside of her collar, revealing a glimpse of smooth, fair skin. The sight made my body grow even more restless. Want me to fan you instead? I offered. Sure. She looked quite happy, and even joked that my hands were bigger, so I would probably make a better breeze. So I raised my hand and started